Welcome, I'm Bri the Builder, and in this video, I'm going to be building up this amazing model kit. It's Luke Skywalker riding a Tauntaun from StannArts. If you're looking for it, it's actually called Luke on Tauntaun from StannArts. The detail in the kit, the fur, the sculpt, all of it's really well done. There's some nice 3D modeled printed elements that come with as well. So let's get to it. I'm basically just going to be, for all the major glue parts, going to be using Starbond Black. It's a medium thick black super glue that contains some amount of rubber, and the glue itself does stay more flexible than just regular super glue. I'm going in and basically filling all the cracks and seams with Aves. Aves Epoxy Sculpt is a really nice two-part epoxy that mixes up into a nice kind of soft clay. It sculpts really nicely while it's still fresh, pushes into all the cracks and crevices really easily, and it's sticky so it stays nicely. Then as it starts to set up, within the first few minutes, it becomes sculptable for kind of the bigger details, and as it continues to set up, probably over the first 15 or 20 minutes, you can start to sculpt in some very nice fine detail, and after about an hour, it is rock hard. After I put the tail on and did all the seam work and got the fur looking all really nice, I realized I covered up the strap that was actually molded into the tail of the kit. So I end up going through and sculpting a strap and a buckle, which the kit didn't have a buckle, so I guess the addition of the buckle is kind of cool. But, you know, I wish I had realized that there was a strap there to begin with, because it might have made things a little bit easier. But it worked out. The strap and the buckle end up looking really cool. In order to get the communicator wrist kind of into the spot where I really wanted it to be, I had to leave a bit of a gap on the front side. And I was a little concerned that it wasn't going to fill up nicely, but the epoxy sculpt filled the gap really, really well. As I'm sculpting the, I guess, kind of pleats, well, not pleats, but the puffiness of the seams of the shoulders of the coat, it was a little, at first, concerning that I wasn't going to be able to kind of match the pattern, but also it turned out pretty easy once I actually got started. The epoxy sculpt, it had to set up a little bit before I could get the detail that I was going for, but after it got to the kind of the right point in its setup, it was actually very easy. Most of this stuff, once you get going, is super, I guess, editable, so there's no point where it's really done. You can always go back and make adjustments and remove and add and whatever it needs. As I start airbrushing, I have put some silly putty into the foot pads so that when I go to glue it later, there's no glue in there that basically is going to prevent the epoxy or super glue from sticking to anything. The Tauntaun fur uses a whole bunch of different colors that are just kind of progressively added to the bowl of the airbrush and just kind of progressively darkened through the process. So I start with that kind of gray primer, then I'm lightening up the belly a whole bunch, and then I go through and darken up the back, and it's just a bit of back and forth until it feels pretty close to what I want. The dark brown for the saddle blanket is a mix of a bunch of different browns that ended up kind of desaturating and not being quite what I wanted. So as I added black, it desaturated even more. But it did get darker. So then I added orange to it to kind of bring the saturation back up. And after a while, I actually got to a nice rich brown mix that I really liked. Here, I'm pretty much dry brushing the dark gray over the back. The contrast after the wash and the other grays, and now as I'm adding the saddle blanket, the contrast was just too minimal. So I want to darken up the fur around where the saddle's going to be even more to help all of the other parts pop out. The saddle leather is pretty similar, really, I guess, to the saddle blanket. It's a base really of Vallejo saddle brown, and then there's some Citadel scrag brown and some other stuff mixed in, and it ends up actually having a nice rich leather look to it. the more official kind of cosplay sites online list that Luke's goggles are yellow lenses, but from the images that I could see from video, they look more green to me. So I'm going to do the insides green, and I'm going to do a layer of the Vallejo transparent yellow on the outside. There are a couple elements here that I've updated or modified, I guess, from the kit that comes from StannArts. The bag that holds Luke's macro binoculars is really nice, but I have macro binoculars that I had 3D modeled and designed for a previous project, so I decided I would go ahead and create a case that's open and has a spot inside that the macro binoculars will actually fit in and sit nicely. I also went ahead and modeled the holster and an updated DL44 pistol for Luke, or a DL44 blaster, I guess. They're also available on my Etsy store. But, you know, the DL44 blaster that came with is great, but you couldn't take it out of the holster, and I just wanted to be able to remove it. So my blaster on my Luke on Tauntaun does actually come out of the holster, and the little strap there has a magnet to keep it closed. It's kind of dumb, but kind of great. I've never used this Vallejo snow product before. I've used a lot of other texture pastes, and I was hoping that it was going to be similar in how it worked to pretty much every other texture paste, and it really is. It's very light and fluffy, so it does actually look a lot like snow, and it's a little easy to get the snow surface to be a little rough, but with a little bit of water on the brush near the end as it's starting to set up a little bit, the snow on the base did actually smooth out pretty nicely, and it was easy enough to actually keep it looking like a nice kind of snow layer on all of the different surfaces. It's actually really cool, and I didn't use much on this rather large model, so I imagine I'm going to have this stuff for quite a while. As we're pretty close to the end and the grand reveal, let me just say I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for staying with me till the end. And if you haven't already, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. It really does help YouTube get my video out and recommend it to more people.